US President Joe Biden made a historic visit to Angola on Tuesday, marking the first time an American president has traveled to the nation. The visit aims to strengthen US-Angola ties and counter China's growing influence in Africa, a continent rich in resources and geopolitical significance.
I'm very proud to be the first American president to visit Angola, and I'm deeply proud of everything we have done together to transform our partnership thus far. There's so much ahead of us, so much we can do.
A key highlight of Biden's trip is the US commitment of $3 billion to the Lobito Corridor Railway redevelopment. This project will connect Angola, Zambia, and Congo, making it easier to transport critical minerals like cobalt and lithium, essential for electric vehicles and clean energy technologies.
And you've heard me say it before, Mr. President. The United States is all in on Africa. All in on Africa. The United States is all in on Angola. We've already, my administration alone, has invested over $3 billion in Angola thus far. The future of the world is here in Africa, in Angola.
The initiative is a strategic move to reduce Africa's reliance on China, which dominates the mining and processing of such minerals. In a parallel development, China announced a ban on exports of high-tech materials like gallium and germanium to the United States, escalating an already tense trade relationship. The ban follows US restrictions on Chinese technology firms and reflects the intensifying rivalry between the two nations. Biden's visit also includes a tour of Angola's National Slavery Museum, where he delivered a speech acknowledging the painful history of slavery while emphasizing a forward-looking partnership based on mutual economic benefit.
Historians believe people from Angola accounted for a significant number of all enslaved people shipped to America. Today, millions of African Americans have roots in Angola. As I said at the U.S. African Leaders Summit that I held in Washington 2 years ago, our people lie at the heart of a deep and profound connection that forever binds Africa and the United States together. We remember the stolen men and women and children who were brought to our shores in chains, subjected to unimaginable cruelty.
This visit occurs against the backdrop of increasing Chinese investments in Africa. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China has transformed infrastructure across the continent, from railways to ports. However, critics have raised concerns about debt dependency tied to Chinese financing. The US, on the other hand, has traditionally focused on trade, security, and humanitarian aid, but is now adopting infrastructure strategies similar to China's.
Together, we're engaged in a major joint project to close the infrastructure gap. For the benefit of Angolans, Africans across the continent, Americans, and the world will all benefit as you benefit.
The Lobito Corridor project is backed by the European Union, the G7, private Western investors, and African banks, signaling a united Western effort to balance China's influence.
It's called the Lobito Corridor. We're building railroad lines from Angola to the port of Lobito in Zambia and the DRC, and ultimately all the way to the Atlantic, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. It'll be the first transcontinental railroad in Africa, and the biggest American rail investment outside of America. And I must tell you up front, with the American press here, I'm probably the most pro-rail guy in America.
Military cooperation is another dimension of the US-China rivalry. While the US supports African security through programs like AFRICOM, China has expanded its military footprint, including a base in Djibouti and rumored plans for a second base in West Africa. Such moves are viewed as a potential threat to US national security, given the strategic implications of a Chinese presence on Africa's Atlantic coast. For Africa, this competition presents both opportunities and challenges. Investments from both superpowers can drive development, but nations must navigate the risks of dependency and geopolitical alignment. Biden's visit underscores Africa's growing importance on the global stage, not just as a resource-rich continent, but as a key player in shaping future geopolitical and economic dynamics. The rivalry between the US and China in Africa is expected to intensify in the years ahead, influencing the continent's development and its role in global power structures.